Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. And we, the members of Group 3, will be looking at broad field curriculum. Again, I am Keen Bob, and introducing my other colleagues are Bini Roy Sukram, Miss Fiona France, and Miss Afio Rose. As we take you through the presentation, I hope that we all learn what is broad field curriculum and how we can utilize it in our daily life as we teach. So, to introduce you to this topic, broad field curriculum is a structure for achieving educational outcomes that combines related subjects into one broad field of study. The purpose of broad field curriculum is to highlight the relationships between the subjects and to integrate the learning experience. I'll now hand you over to my colleagues who will continue on broad field curriculum. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ms. Bina and I'm representing Group 3. I'll be explaining what is broad field curriculum and identifying some advantages and disadvantages of broad field curriculum. To begin, broad field curriculum is the structure for achieving educational outcome that combines related subjects into one broad field. Now, what they're basically saying there is that one subject has a combination of three or probably two other subjects in it, right? For example, social studies. Social studies is a combination of history and geography. And another example, English. English, you may find a combination of spelling, reading, and also composition in it. Advantages of broad field curriculum. It saves time on the school timetable. Now, for instance, rather than schools having to provide periods separately for spelling, reading, and composition, English cater for all three of those subjects in once. Hence, the teaching period will be less than if it was to be taught separately. It also integrates separate subjects into a single course. Since related subjects will be combined into one broad study, this will enable the learners to see the relationship among the various components of the curriculum and help them to develop different skills. Disadvantage. It provides only bits and pieces of information from a variety of subjects. Now, since related subjects are incorporated into one area, the content depth for the various subjects are shallow. Hence, why students will be exposed to only bits and pieces of information from the various subjects. It also lacks depth and cultivation shallowness.
Hello again. I am Keen Bob. Now I'll be looking at the strengths and weakness of broad field curriculum. To add to what my colleagues are saying, I guess we would have realized that broad field curriculum is something that is new. It's an alternative or a study that is now being utilized in the educational system or in the learning system. So we can say that in everything there are strengths, there are weaknesses. So let's go through them. Now, from what we have gathered is that throughout, once we use the broad field curriculum, we have less periods to an assigned subject. So when we accumulate all the subjects together, let's say English, grammar, comprehension, and spelling, comprehension, and grammar, and we put them all together on the English, we find that we have less periods, especially in the secondary schools. You notice that we have 4 periods per week with each given class. So that's less. Other than just singling them out, we'll have more periods, which is more than likely will be kind of exhausting. It also deals with a more practical learning rather than chalk and talk. So this form of curriculum enables the teachers to be very creative in how they deliver the content to the students. And it also helps the students to relate back to the teacher their understanding of the content that was shared. It enhances the teacher-pupil relationship. So, as you can see, through the learning experience where the teacher uses their creativity, we then get helps to enhance the relationship between the teacher and the pupil. So it builds a bridge, right? So now the child can be comfortable within the classroom to say, Miss, I understand, or Miss, I don't understand. Could you go it over? And we can relate back to the child by going it over using other examples or other techniques to deliver a better understanding of the content. Now, that's the good side of it. So let's look at the weakness, right? Lack of information from various subjects. So, lack of information from various subjects. So, my example was English language. Now, if we have grammar, spelling, and comprehension, and we bring it all on the English, it means that we are merging 3 big subjects into one. So information provided would just be to facilitate whatever you can cover within that period. So more than likely more information is needed, but we don't get the time to translate that information or to transfer that information to the child, right? So that is one of the weakness or one of the challenges. Next, the students become flustered by the amount of information provided in the content. So we're not getting to send or to teach enough during that class time. So what then we have to do? We have to send the notes to the children, or you give them homework, or you give them the assignments that would cover or help to cover the content that you're lacking within your class time. So students tend to be flustered, especially when you give them a lot of work to do or you try to cover a lot within a given period. They become flustered. So we have to look at our strengths and our weakness when we deal with broad field curriculum. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Riona France and today I'll be talking about activity experience curriculum. Now we say that an activity experience curriculum is the process of learning by performing certain activities, or we can say it is learning by doing. This curriculum is highly effective as instead of asking children to sit, listen and take notes, this mode of learning allows them to participate in their own learning experience via practical activities such as independent investigations and problem solving. Activity-based curriculum is structured around the following concepts, which are experimentation, exploration, and expression. In experimentation, we have the children learning from experience. Exploration deals with collecting knowledge and developing skills through active surveys. Lastly, expression is encouraging children to express their views via visual representation. Now, as a teacher, you would ask, why activity-based learning? Activity-based learning motivates or encourages children to enjoy their learning experience. Activity-based learning has many benefits, including it helps children to retain information. How does this curriculum help children retain information? An activity-based curriculum encourages children to participate physically and mentally in the learning processes and helps students learn and retain information. This learning process allows children to remember and understand learning materials based on their personal experiences. Number two, we have this curriculum encourage children to become self-reliant and inquisitive learners. This happens by probing children to work individually or in small groups. This methodology encourages children to be curious, think critical, and learn from their own experiences. This self-learning process, in turn, promotes the acquisition of knowledge outside and inside the educational environment. Number three, we have it supports social development. While activity-based learning encourages children to take responsibility for their own learning experience, group-based activity also helps students to develop team and social skills. Number four, it focuses this curriculum, I should say activity experience curriculum, focuses on the relevance of education materials. Children do not always understand the appropriateness of learning materials when they put pen on paper. But activity experience learning helps children understand the real relevance of learning materials by encouraging them to explore and solve real-world problems and scenarios. Lastly, we have the activity experience curriculum encourages children to express themselves in various ways. Children can be creative in how they express their knowledge. This learning methods allows children to express what they have learned by doing and making a verbal presentation. Now, is there any disadvantages of the activity experience curriculum? Of course there is. The activity-based curriculum instruction method requires long-term planning with minute detail of whole process. Before engaging students or learners, the teacher should ensure that all students have sufficient knowledge and skills about their task. Constantly, this method cannot be used regularly and daily because it involves a lengthy procedure. Now, the goal of the method can only be achieved with impeccable lesson planning. If there is any flaw in planning, this approach will do more harm than good. So there is an advantage and a disadvantage to the activity experience curriculum. Now lastly, you should know that there are two types of activity experience curriculum. The first one is the student-centric approach and the second one is the teacher-centric approach. Now with the student-centric approach, the approach is where the overall learning process is designed with the student as the major factor. And this process promotes self-learning. Now with the teacher-centric approach, it is an approach where the educator leads the student through the entire learning process. Now that is all for me on activity experience curriculum, and I will now hand you over to my colleague who will tell you how to use the activity experience curriculum. Thank you.
Ways to use the activity experience. By understanding the different ways students learn, we can improve our teaching and help learners achieve their goal. For example, visual, games, solving problems. Field trip also play a major role in this activity. Also, it develops teamwork, leadership, and decision making. There are 5 types of activities. There are physical activities, environmental activities, constructive activities, aesthetic activities, and community activities. And we'll do a brief discussion on both. Physical activities. When you hear the word physical, talk about actions or things that are connected with person's body. So for example, physical training, games, and sports. This is where the students are going to participate in these activities. Physical activities. Environmental activities. We hear the word environmental. We're talking about our surrounding. So a great example of this is a store. So for example, primary school. We all went on primary school tour. And the most popular place we all visited was a zoo. So you went and see different types of animals, or the animals stay, or the environment stay. Also, an example of environmental activities is like teachers will take the students in the school compound to identify different trees, the leaf, and also the soil. These are environmental activities. We can interact with the students. Constructive activities. When you hear constructive activities, talking about helping to develop or prove something. So for example, solving problem, ask questions, answer, investigate a topic. Also, and work, repairing of tools belong to this activity. Aesthetic activity. This provides opportunities for self-expression. For example, reading or plays musical instruments. Also arts and creative craft. Last one, community activities. These activities aim at community development and also include community projects. So teacher can provide information regarding different topics. For example, history. We could go and see the monument in the community, and they all have a history in different monuments. We have geography. Teachers will take the children out of the community to identify rocks, soils, and so on. Economics. We could go at different companies, for example, the bank. We could also find their management and how they provide their HR, research department, and all different departments. So, as we know, different students learn at different ways. So, for example, a student may learn physical activities more than constructive activities, vice versa. A student may learn constructive activity more than physical activities. Just out there connect their interest in learning. So, for example, if we do like 3 activities a day, different activities we put over the content, we will know, okay, 25 of the students in the class learn physical activity more than constructive activity. And other percentage learn constructive activity more than physical activity. So we will know how to put over the content to the student. And we also will know how the student learn, because students learn different ways. So that's the end of my presentation, and that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching.
Hi again, guys. So, to conclude our presentation today, we'd like to say that the broad field curriculum approach is successful in making students more aware of the content area connections. It challenges students, provides a learning environment supporting the academic and social needs of the child. So, it helps them to create boundaries, to establish boundaries, and it also helps in the discipline of that child because they have to learn how to manage their time. We can also say that it fosters a stronger teacher student relationship. In our view, an effective curriculum increases students' understanding about the world around them, and it prepares them to live in the 21st century. It enlarges the students' experience and it sharpens their awareness. Thank you for listening. Please do ask your questions if you don't understand. Thank you very much. We, the members of Group 3, really appreciate you guys for listening. Do enjoy. Good night. Thank you.